Go. So, hello and welcome everyone to another YouTube AMA sessions here at WhiteBIT. And today we have a special guest. I'm happy and honored to introduce Brad Kemp, the co-founder at Unstoppable Domains. He was kind enough to come in and join us today to answer the most interesting questions you have asked about the Unstoppable Domains, what it is, what it does, and what kind of benefits you as WhiteBIT users now have that Unstoppable Domains have been integrated. Brad, thank you so much for joining us. Could we start with a couple of words about yourself, please?
Of course, and thanks a bunch for having me. So hi, everybody. I'm Brad, one of the co-founders at Unstoppable Domains. I live in San Francisco, moved here in 2012. And when I moved to San Francisco, I moved into this Bitcoin hacker house called 20 Mission, where one of the first exchanges in the US was made in the basement, and Vitalik was giving talks in the courtyard before Ethereum went live. So basically, everybody I met when I first moved to San Francisco was some kind of a crypto founder or crypto enthusiast, and
right.
That's how I first heard about it, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole soon after that, and here we are 8 years later.
Perfect. So just to explain to all the newcomers how it works. As you know, we have announced this AMA about a week prior, and you have been, as users, submitting your questions via Google form, and we have handpicked 8 most interesting questions, which Brad is going to answer right now. And it wouldn't be a good AMA session if there hadn't been any reward. So Brad, could you please tell us what kind of a treat we are offering to our users for this AMA?
So I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I actually don't know, but I think my team knows.
Yeah, they do, and I do as well. So
okay,
all the users who have asked the questions that we have picked for Brad to be answered are going to receive the chance to get a free .crypto domain for Unstoppable Domains. And yeah, so it would be a good question to start by asking you what problems does actually Unstoppable Domains solve that others cannot, and how do you intend to change the world, and what are your plans to educate and raise awareness and adoption among the community? So just a couple of words about Unstoppable Domains, what it is, as I said, what it does, and how it helps.
Sure. So Unstoppable Domains builds domain names on blockchains. And the very big difference between domain names on a blockchain and a regular .com domain name is that you're in control. You store it inside of your crypto wallet, just like you would a cryptocurrency. This is very different than a traditional domain name where it's stored by GoDaddy or by some other registrar, and they can take it away, or they can get hacked, or any number of other problems. So this is an asset that you control forever. There's no renewal fees. There's no ability for Unstoppable Domains to take the domain name back from you. And you don't even need to worry about Unstoppable Domains continuing to be in business, because you're relying on the blockchain for your domain name to work, not us. So that's the really, really big new thing that's happening here. And so because a blockchain domain name is controlled by you, you can assign any records that you want to it. So there's 2 main things that people are using with their domain names right now. The first is payments, crypto payments. So you can send me Bitcoin or ETH or any number of other cryptocurrencies all to my domain name, brad.crypto. No need to send me tips or anything like that, just explaining how it works. And so you as the user can now send money into WhiteBIT using a domain name, or out using your domain name. And so this is the thing that is that we just announced that's new. There's one more thing that you can do with your domain name as well. You can also use it to build a decentralized website. And what you do is, so what you do is you attach your you can launch your website on IPFS, which is a decentralized storage network, and then you get a hash that helps find the content. You attach that to your domain name, type in the domain name in a browser that supports it, and you can go and check out a website. So right now, you could go check out my blog, brad.crypto, on Opera browser, and it just works. So this is something that the traditional web community is also supporting and adding support for over the next year. So payments, websites, same domain.
Yeah, and I think the important thing that everybody should understand from this is that once you have created a crypto domain, for example, it stays there. Yeah, so there is no way for it to expire or to be taken away from you. Yeah, it's just there, right?
Yeah, and this is just like any other crypto asset out there. Domain names are NFTs, and so it works very similar to the way that you would expect any crypto asset to work, which is very different than the way a traditional domain name or really any traditional asset would work.
Yeah, so whatever gets into blockchain stays there, right? Okay, perfect. Thank you for this answer. And this is a good segue into our next question. You have explained to us what this actually is about, what is unstoppable domains, but how exactly was this idea born? What kind of challenge have you seen troubling, let's say, users in the crypto world for you to be able to come up with the idea of creating such a solution?
So this has been an idea, I would say, that has been floating around in the crypto world for a very long time.
Right.
For people that remember way back in, I think, 2012, there was a project called Namecoin. And Namecoin was basically a fork of Bitcoin that allowed you to hide crypto addresses and associate them with names that you could read. This is very similar to the concept of domain names and IP addresses, where you used to have to go into a browser and type in these really long random numbers. Eventually, you were able to type in, whatever.com and be able to, and that domain name pointed to the IP address. You no longer needed to see these random machine readable numbers, and all you saw was the name. So this idea of making crypto payments and crypto networks easier to work with is something that's been around for almost 10 years now. The thing that didn't exist yet was a smart contract blockchain with a bunch of great tools so that you could go and build an application. Because a registry is actually quite complicated and requires you to be able to have a full programming language in order to be able to do it functionally. So this became possible. So this idea, I mean, I can even remember talking to my co-founder about things related to this, going all the way back to 2013, 2014.
Right. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, and it's because it wasn't a novel concept. It was that people thought it was inevitable, but they didn't really have a way to do it yet. So fast forward to 2017, it became possible. It became possible to launch a great application on Ethereum and make all of this stuff work. And so that was the initial drive to get started. But there was one other thing that was happening in the world as well, which is that the internet was becoming more and more centralized.
Sure.
And actually the issues around censorship and issues around security were really causing the internet to break in front of our eyes. People were getting hacked all the time. I would get an alert from my credit company saying, your information has been hacked, along with 200 million Americans. I would get that notification like once a month. Every American's information has been hacked by some company. And all of this stuff just started happening all the time. And we said, this is just not the way the internet's going to work in the future. Users are going to be in control of their data and are going to be in control of their assets, because if they're not, we're essentially going to lose all of our control as we move our lives online. If we don't have this level of control over our own things, like in the real world, we own our own property. We maybe own our house or our car or whatever. We own our stuff. In the digital world, we own nothing. Facebook owns it. Twitter owns it, or whoever else owns it. And this is a huge, huge problem for us as a society. And we thought that this was something that would be worth spending the next 20 years trying to fix. And at the time we did it, a lot of people, especially people in America, said, is this really a problem? Is there really an issue with the internet? Is censorship really a problem? 3 years later, no one says that anymore. I can talk to my grandma about this problem. Right. Everyone gets it. Everyone sees it. It's in the news every single week. So the thing has really broken, I would say, in 2020. Like, we had an internet that was breaking, and then it broke. And now people are aware, and they're looking for alternatives, and that's really, really good for things like blockchain domain names and for the decentralized web in general.
Yeah, and so you could say that you actually, in some way, repeat the evolution of the internet itself. Yeah, by as it was with the internet, where long and complicated strings of numbers have become domains, right? So it is happening now in crypto, where you are introducing domains for easier access, right, to your funds.
Absolutely, and in crypto, it actually is maybe even a bigger problem because the strings are longer.
Exactly.
40
Yes.
characters instead of 8 numbers, and you have more of them. Like you know, the average user might have 20 different, different crypto wallets. So you're actually tying 20 different long addresses all together. So the problem is far bigger in this world, to the point where there's really no way that you're going to be able to share all of that information out in order to have people send you money.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I have mentioned quite recently on another MA that we had, that crypto is actually, like, in itself, it is supposed to be easy, right? You are supposed to, just get access to your funds, send it wherever you want to whomever you want. But this, this address thing just makes it unnecessarily complicated, where you can end up losing your money just for typing one wrong letter, or not double checking anything, or sending into a smart contract instead of another address or whatnot. Yeah, so this is indeed a problem that is, that you seem to have been working hard on fixing, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we say when we talk about this, like what's valuable here, what's new here, it's really that we're making crypto payments less scary. It's really scary to have to go in there and risk typing something wrong, and it's not the way that it works in the regular world. In the regular world, you wouldn't send somebody $1,000, $2,000, whatever, without being able to feel confident that you're you're sending to the right person. So if you use something like PayPal or Venmo or whatever, you see the person's face, or you see the person's email, or you have some other information to be able to ensure that it's the right person. The human readable name plus other information that you can add to it provides that. And without that, it's hard to imagine how people are going to shift their behavior from a system that works like that, where you can feel confident you're paying to the right person, to one where you can't. So the world needs to catch up in order to be able to replace existing payment systems.
Right, and our next question is kind of connected with the entire history of how this all has been evolving. Yeah, and the thing is that obviously you are not the only one who had this kind of an idea. Yeah, and there are a couple of solution providers that are trying to achieve the same thing as you. Yeah, I could say FIO protocol as an example. Yeah, they're actually coming into WhiteBIT as well very soon. So could you elaborate a little bit on the differences and things that you are doing not the same way as other similar service providers, and what is the this thing that makes unstoppable domains stand out from the crowd, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is traction. More than 500,000 domains and more than 30 wallet applications, as well as tens of millions of users can access, and of course hundreds of millions of users can access on browsers. So much further along. We're also a company. We didn't create a blockchain. We didn't create a nonprofit. We're relying on blockchains that you already trust, like Ethereum. I would say that the closest to us is probably ENS. They also are probably the closest to us philosophically. They came along, launched on Ethereum, which is a widely respected, fully open source blockchain. I think the challenge for them is well, first of all, they have subscriptions, which makes it a little bit harder for users. But second of all, they're a nonprofit. We're a company, so we're trying to go and build this into a really massive thing. I don't know if others in the space really have that same ambition. FIO, I'm a little less sure about, because as far as I understand, it's on a EOS fork. It's like controlled by them. I don't really know how confident a user who cares a lot about sovereignty is going to want to send their Bitcoin or their Ethereum through an EOS fork, when if they don't do that, it's more secure. So that seems a little bit challenging. I think there's some other issues there. So I'm just less excited about people building on these kind of small, obscure blockchains. I think it's just it's going to be much easier for the user if they don't do that, if they build on the platforms where. So like one of the advantages of Ethereum is you get things like OpenSea marketplaces that just support the domain names out of the box. So you can easily trade them, just like any other NFT. Another advantage you get from Ethereum is that applications by default support it. So we go to browsers and we say, hey, are you willing to support our registry for websites? And they say, well, yeah, that would be pretty easy because we already have an Ethereum wallet built in. So it's just a lot easier when you're using the tools that everyone else is already using. And I think one of the things that people have tried to do is see if they can roll in, I can create my own currency as part of my product, and see if, and maybe that's the main goal. I think that's the main goal for a lot of these projects, not necessarily to get the domain names out there.
Right. Thank you for your opinion, and it's kind of interesting to hear that. Given that we're going to have ourselves another MA session with Fire Protocol, and it will be like interesting to hear what they say about it, and maybe we can build it up into some kind of a ongoing discussion about the benefits and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So thank you for that. And talking about traction, yeah, you mentioned that you are that quite a lot of people and services are integrated with the Unstoppable Domains, right? So could you let us know how many exchanges and other services have integrated Unstoppable Domains so far? And there are obviously a lot of different kinds of service providers in the blockchain industry. There are exchanges, there are wallets, and you could go on forever. So which ones are a priority for you, and what is your strategy like in making such integrations happen? Yeah.
So crypto wallets and crypto exchanges are our top priorities for us. I think ultimately what's going to be the superpower for domain names is that when they work across every single crypto application that you can think of using. Right now, I would say that of the self-custody wallets, definitely the majority of the big ones are either integrated or in some phase of integration. Exchanges are a big priority for us in 2021. We've kind of just we're early in that process. WhiteBIT, I think, actually was the pioneer there, one of, if not the first. So far since then, there's been CoinNut and OKCoin and OKEX and many more. So the wallet and exchange world in general is, I would say, excited about this tech, understands this problem. Their users have this problem. So the energy is pretty, is pushing pretty hard in this direction. So our focus this year is heavily on exchanges. Last year it was heavily on wallets, and at the same time we're also doing things like browsers for the web use cases. So for us, it's crypto wallets, crypto exchanges, browsers, and that's kind of the whole picture.
Perfect. Yeah. So and what about the total number of all those services? Have you ever you probably have a website or a source where every user that is interested in that can take a look at where they can actually use Unstoppable Domains, right?
Yeah, you can check the page. It's over 30.
Okay, perfect. So I think we will include the link into the description of the video for everybody to be able to take a look. Good. Let's move on to our next question, and it is actually, is there a way to get a .crypto domain for my Ledger device? That is something that one of our users is curious about.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, that's a short one. Okay, and yeah, there is a .crypto domain, and there are a couple of others, right? What are those? What kind of domain names do you support currently?
The other one that we launched back in 2019 was .zil.
And the next question is actually, are you planning on launching more of those. Yeah, and what is like what is the logic behind launching more domain names? Is it limited to how many people can subscribe to one kind of a domain, or are you just do you just want to make to give users more choosing opportunities, or like how did these names come about, let's say?
Yeah, so the first one was in partnership with the Zilliqa Foundation. I think what we kind of determined after that was that something that would be relevant to the entire crypto community was probably the best thing, and that's how we came to .crypto. So the idea there is that it should be for really every crypto user. No immediate plans on other domain name systems. I think in general, the user doesn't necessarily need a lot of different systems, a lot of choices. Although some choices is probably helpful. So it's going to be more about which communities need to be activated and are not being activated by a specific by an existing registry.
Yeah, so maybe there may be an idea of launching a address, a domain name for some specific occasion, for some holiday or something. So that's like a limited time offer. So that might be interesting. Just as a thought, yeah. Okay, perfect. That's an interesting question that I actually like the most about all those that we have received. While taking a look at all the public sources and public information about the about unstoppable domains, we see a lot that you claim unstoppable domains to be a censorship-resistant blockchain solution. Yeah, but blockchain in itself seems to be censorship-resistant in itself because it's kind of a decentralized database. Yeah, so could you expand on that? What makes unstoppable domains even more censorship-resistant, and why did you choose to go with such a positioning?
It's really to distinguish between traditional domain names and blockchain. So there's no we didn't create anything new on the blockchain protocol side. We're just utilizing existing blockchains that, as you point out, are censorship resistant by their nature. So the difference here is the distinction we're trying to make is a blockchain domain is owned by you, controlled by you. A regular, and the reason why that works is because it's an NFT stored inside of your wallet. If you have a self-custody wallet, someone has to go and get your device in order to be able to move that domain around. Right. That's very different than a domain name, a .com domain name, sitting inside of GoDaddy or some other registrar, and those registrars have the ability to take that domain away from you, or somebody else can force them to take the domain away from you, or a hacker can just convince them to take the domain away from you. Right. All of these things happen all the time. Okay.
So you have talked a lot about your personal domains being actually an NFT token, right? So there is a question which says, do you have any plans on launching your own internal token, or maybe some kind of a network token with the help of which you can pay for the fees for purchasing a .crypto domain, for example, or something like that?
I think this is probably the most popular question that we get.
Yeah. I can imagine.
And sorry to disappoint everybody. There's no plans for an unstoppable token, and the reason why is
although I must say the name sounds great. Unstoppable token, yeah.
And the reason why is because it hasn't been necessary. And I think that this has been one of the biggest problems in the crypto world is that regardless of whether or not it's necessary, people will just build a token because it's potentially good for them financially. I would say that in many to most cases, it winds up being bad for the product because it makes the product harder to use. Instead of using the native token of a network like Ethereum or whatever, I need to also have this other token in order to do stuff. And then I need to do an extra transaction every time I want to do something. So that's not, if you're designing for the user, you probably wouldn't come up with that as your choice. Going back to FIO, same problem. You have to go and get the FIO token every single time you want to do a transaction. That's not very user friendly. So I don't think that's the right way forward at this time. At some point in the future, there may be needs for more as the layer 2 community goes and builds out more. There may be more need for new tokens to secure those networks. But if you're just on Ethereum layer 1, I think there's really no justification for it. And if anything, you're probably hurting your users by slipping it in there.
Yep, that sounds reasonable. Having my own .crypto domain, for example, being an NFT token, what can I actually do with it? Like it being my property, as you said, yeah, can I transfer it? Can I change it? Can I sell it? I don't know. What are the opportunities? What is the flexibility here for the user, what to do with their domain?
Yeah, so you can do all of those things. There's a healthy market on places like OpenSea and Rarible, of course. Mm-hmm. There was a domain name that was sold for, I believe, $90,000.
Really? Do you know the name?
Sex.crypto. Of course.
Okay.
Of course, but there's plenty others that have sold for large sums as well. And it's just like a traditional domain name where they're being bought and sold all the time. But the difference is it's on a blockchain, so the transactions settle in under a minute. Mm-hmm. You don't need an escrow agent. You can just transfer it trustlessly to anybody in the world. Don't need to know their name. Don't need any of that stuff. So it's a domain name marketplace that's working like 100 times better than it would work in the traditional world, where you have to wait days and you have to have some random third party hold the money in between and all of this kind of weird, complicated stuff. So that's a behavior that's happening all the time. So that's one use. People are also using them to receive money. People are also building websites. There's been 30,000 decentralized websites built so far, and people are also adding images and things like that. The thing about a domain name is that in the blockchain world is that it's a little bit more like almost like your crypto social media username.
Right.
People are adding pictures to their profiles. People are using it as their kind of like crypto identity type thing.
Right. Yeah. So picture is like your profile picture on social media, right? So you just add it to the domain name, right? And can it be changed then?
Yeah, and it's similar to like what when you see NFT art or whatever. Like
got it. Yeah,
you're sending an image with an NFT. It's sort of a similar idea, but the net result of that is that you have some identity around this wallet or whatever, and now you have some proof. Like, yes, I'm actually communicating with, or I'm actually transacting with the right person. So it's all about this, ability to actually feel comfortable enough to start sending money to people in this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's imagine that I own a Andrew.crypto domain. Yeah, and there is another Andrew that wants to own this. Yeah. So we can just, agree to some terms, and I can just basically transfer ownership to them, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned something else, which is that first names are very appealing in this world.
Yep.
They have this consumer use case, so people are very excited about grabbing the first names.
Yeah. So another question that I had, you have been talking about this, the websites that people are launching, yeah. And what are those mostly? Are they like personal blogs in their majority, or forums, or what kind of websites are people making?
Generally? There's two. So there's companies like mostly like crypto applications, and they are building like backups of their dApps.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can like launch, so there's like Kyber.crypto, for example, so you can do a Kyber swap on the decentralized web.
Mm-hmm.
There's Switcheo.crypto, same idea. MyEtherWallet has a version on MyEtherWallet.crypto. So these are companies, and all
they're corporate ones, right? Yeah. What about the personal ones?
Yeah, the corporate ones, what they're doing is they're just building on their own and then attaching the .crypto, the .crypto domain. Then there's another set of consumers, and they're using our web tools. We've built like a very, very simple early version of almost like Wix for the decentralized.
Got it.
And so those are mostly like profile pages, some blogs, very simple stuff. So what we have right now is very simple, and the reason why is because those are the only tools that we built so far. once we expand out that tool set, we expect that the website, that the types of websites we'll see is going to get much more diverse. So we saw a lot of excitement when we launched the personal page stuff. We saw 25,000 websites launch or whatever. So people want this, but the personal page isn't really enough. We know that. So we've got more work to do to help people build more interesting websites. But you can always build whatever you want on your own. If you're a developer, you can just build whatever you want on your own and launch it. We're just talking about non-technical users being able to click a few buttons and launch.
So do you have any plans on moving forward in exactly this direction? Turning this into some kind of a decentralized social media or something? I understand that you are already doing this in some manner, yeah. But are you pursuing the way to invest more efforts into that, or is it not your priority, let's say, right now?
I mean, not immediately. I think that the tools that allow people to build stuff with their domains, like apps for your domains, is something that's a big focus for us. So that might not be that's not really like us making a social media network. Anything, I think what we're kind of doing is we're kind of like breaking down the social media app.
Oh yeah, so it's like small islands, let's say, yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's really the cool part is so what we're saying is you as the user can have your own thing, and then because it is because your website or your information is stored by you and you have this private key, you can just share that with apps in the future. And so instead of just having this one Facebook where they're going to control all your information, you might use 30 different Facebooks, and you just log in, give them access to your data for some specific purpose, and then your data is the same everywhere you go. So your friends show up, your pictures show up, whatever, it doesn't matter which app you use. And then all these apps have to compete with each other to provide you with the best service, as opposed to Facebook is the monopoly. If Facebook doesn't like what you do, they hit the off switch, your data is gone, you're off the internet. So that's like the future. So we're more like giving you the tools for you as the user to take control. And then we think that you're going to eventually use that with all these other social media apps.
Yeah, so it seems like you have, the basic ready-made solutions for the users, and then you're just giving them the freedom to, turn this into whatever they want it to be turned into, right? Good, perfect. That does sound exciting. We, I think, have answered all the questions that have been handpicked by the users. So I just wanted to, finishing up, I just wanted to say that, of course, for those of you who didn't understand, Unstoppable Domains is available on WhiteBIT now. There is a big shiny banner on our main page, and if you click on it, you can go directly to Unstoppable Domains, where you can get yourself a .crypto address and experience everything that me and Brad have been discussing for yourself. So do let us know in the comments if there are any other questions. I think we will be happy to, do this again and answer more of those. I believe we have some more promotions and activities planned together with Unstoppable Domains. We will be announcing them a little bit later. And I believe this is all for today. Thank you so much, Brad. Do you want to maybe say something else, to this last call to action for our users, maybe?
Just that if you're curious to learn more, there's plenty of videos out there. You can learn about blockchain domains. You can learn about what we're up to. You can learn about, there's guides and things to show you how to use Unstoppable Domains inside of WhiteBIT. So please check out that information, reach out, check us out at Unstoppable Web on Twitter. That's a good place to see what's going on. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, and we will, of course, include those links for you to reach them easily. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you, all of you who have participated and been so engaging and asked your questions. You will be contacted about how to move forward with receiving your Unstoppable Domain.crypto domain. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, and see you next time.